5-star law firm.
Chattanooga's Chambliss Center for Children has been offering help to children and their families for more than 150 years. What began as a mission among a group of local women is now a true community effort of love and support. Katie Harbison joins us this morning. She's been part of that love for a number of years now and always likes to come and toot the horn of what they do over there at Chambliss.
I haven't been there all 150.
No.
But 19.
19.
Yeah.
And you love it. I mean, it's a place where a lot of people actually are there for many years, whether as staff or volunteers, Katie.
Yeah,
people
or
love
even
it.
children in our child care program. And we've had some children who started with us as infants and went all the way through child care, summer camp, through 12 years old. But a lot of longtime staff too. It's a really special place.
I think if you happen to have lived in Chattanooga any length of time, you quickly learn about Chambliss Center. But there are still probably a lot of people who don't understand fully what all that you do. So I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit this morning, because volunteers do help you.
Absolutely.
So if you get inspired by what Katie shares.
Yeah. So our organization has two main parts of it. One is our early childhood education and child care program. And we're doing sliding fee scale childcare, which childcare is expensive, so that's very important to be able to provide a high quality, low cost childcare option. But we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I forgot that part.
That's huge, because you think about parents who are waiting tables or working retail or just have to work on Saturdays. Most childcare programs aren't open, so we're a lot of times the only option for a lot of families.
So let's pause on that one for just a minute, because a lot of places will talk about sliding scale.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that is so significant about Chambliss is everything is done with dignity. So a lot of times parents will come to you and they're struggling financially.
Absolutely.
And the heart might be to say, okay, well, we'll just cover it for you, but you don't want to take away that dignity for them to be providing their care.
Right. Well, and for a parent, being able to go to work and support your family, that provides that dignity.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have childcare, you can't do that. And so a lot of what we're doing is not just educating children and making sure they're ready for kindergarten, because that's important, but we're also providing a way for these families to be able to do what they need to do to go to work. And sometimes that's a second shift job, or sometimes that's a, any job sometimes that makes more money isn't a first shift job.
Hasn't it worked out for you too in the past, where you've had, like, maybe it's a single mom, and she's used you, and she's also gone to school to then be able to improve her life?
Yes, and that's part of what we'd like to do, is be able to give parents the flexibility to do what they need to do, either taking a job, taking a promotion, or going to school and trying to get that next better, bigger job.
So when I talk about them having been around for more than 150 years, it was how many women who began this?
There were 5 women from the 5 downtown churches who got together and started it. They originally incorporated as the Women's Christian Association. And back then it was just an orphanage. And we still have that residential part of our organization today, in addition to the early childhood education and childcare. We still have really the closest there is to that orphanage piece that there was back in the 1870s, and we have children in foster care, and we facilitate adoptions. And
the foster care children are all different ages, or are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Foster care can be anywhere from 0 to 18 years old. And then a few years ago, we added what we call our transitional living program. Some people call it independent living, because we actually house and support 18 to 24-year-olds who have aged out of foster care, which is a huge population a lot of times that are homeless and incarcerated in gangs because they don't have anywhere to go.
Which is really a frightening thing. I think so many of us will walk through our whole lives never realizing that happens to people. But you could be in a foster situation, and now by saying you aged out, that means the financial support from the state no longer is behind you, and you now have nowhere to go.
Yeah, and it's really sad to think, I mean, these children obviously didn't have loving, supportive families before they turned 18, so their 18th birthday doesn't change anything about that. Most of them still don't have a place to go, and they can't be in a foster home, and so we provide an option. Nothing's required. You apply to be in the program. We go through an interview process, and you have to agree to do certain things. You have to either be working or in school. You can't be having parties. It's, kind of like college. We're doing room checks, and we try to just love and support them so that they can turn into or grow into adults that can move out on their own.
When you pull onto that campus every day, do you feel like you're stepping into a time warp?
In some ways,
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I'm kind of a romantic at heart, but there's something that happens when you turn onto the campus at the Chambliss Center, because it feels like it's been there for 150 years. I mean, trees everywhere. You kind of leave the world behind you.
Well, a lot of people think we're a park because we actually have
Yeah.
17 acres, 90,000 square feet, but you're right, the buildings are old. We actually moved into those buildings in 1939, which isn't, quite 100 years, but it's
getting
still
there.
old. We're getting close, so yes.
Yeah, but I think that's really, again, the romantic in me loves it though, because you can just imagine how many lives
Yeah.
have come through that space,
Yeah.
and you'll never know the ripple effect.
Well, we have a
all
lot of
that.
people reach out to us and they say, I was here when I was 5 and 6 and I want to come back, and we'll walk them through the hallway and they'll remember certain pieces, or they'll say, oh, there used to be this oak tree here. Or, there used to be a slide we learned from somebody that we never knew, like a fire escape slide.
Oh, wow.
That we saw where it was, but never
didn't know
knew
what
that
it
it was
was.
there. And so it's neat because there are a lot of lives that have been touched by our organization, either through the residential side or the child care side. And most of those are really, really precious, special memories to them, and they come back and want to see it and tell us those.
So from a volunteer perspective,
Yeah.
if somebody's watching and they think, I want to kind of give to that,
Yeah.
could they even call the office and say, this is who I am and this is
Yeah.
kind of what I've done in my past,
Sure.
and perhaps you could find a spot?
Absolutely. We have a volunteer coordinator who manages all that. She manages any volunteers that want to come out and spend their time with children, or they want to come out and do work projects. I mean, with 17 acres, we always need people to come and trim bushes and spread mulch. So we have a lot of those groups that come. And then we also have the Isaiah 117 house, which is really that first step for children when they go into foster care. So they get removed from their home and they come to that house, and it's volunteers that love on them. So we're always looking for volunteers to be trained to be caregivers in the house, and also just to help stock food and organize the giving room and all those things that have all the behind the scenes things too.
I think it's real easy to get in your own kitchen at the end of a day and scratch your head and think, how are we going to ever change things around here?
Yeah.
This is a great way, because you
Yeah.
will step into some situations where kids will talk to you and they will have an optimistic view that you can't imagine they
Yeah.
have, and
Yeah.
you'll connect with them and life will be good.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good day to go over and get some high fives
Yeah.
and hugs from 3-year-olds. So
Yeah,
it
and
always makes you feel
financially,
good.
if people want to give a contribution, they can do that
Absolutely.
too.
Our website, Venmo, all the ways. I mean, we really would not be here today, honestly, without the community support, because what we charge parents for childcare only covers about 25% of the cost. So we have to do a lot of fundraising. We have 2 thrift stores. Is another another way people can support us by donating or
One by us
shopping.
here at Channel 3,
Yes.
and one on Brainerd Road.
That's right.
I've done my homework. Here is where you can learn more. If you go to chamblisscenter.org, and then there is their phone number. We're just so lucky to have them, 152 years and counting. Thanks, Katie.
West Yellowknife Trading Post has everything under